And start recording. You can take it over, Jen.
Hi guys. First of all, thanks for having me. So, basically in a nutshell, I have been a coach for just a little over 4 years. November was my 4-year mark. So when I started coaching, I was a full-time teacher. And I actually really loved being a teacher. I was not a coach who signed up because I was unhappy with what I was doing. But if any of you guys are from down south, I'm from Mississippi, and it's really not hard to match a teacher salary with anything. So I decided to become a coach with some extra income. And I had a great time doing it. So I was working my teaching job during school, and I'd come home and work my business. So I never had this vision of, oh, I'm going to quit my job and do all these things. So flash forward to now, I've been a coach for 4 years, 3-time elite, fixing to be 4-time elite. It's crazy. 7-star diamond. We're shooting for 15-star this year. All kinds of crazy stuff happened in the last 4 years. But the thing I want to tell you guys is I was a full-time teacher until last July. So all of that happened while working a full-time job. And then I decided to get my master's degree last year. So I got my master's degree full-time in grad school while interning as an assistant principal. And then I found I was pregnant, and now I have a baby. So if I can make this business work for me, you can definitely make it work for you. So a big part of that was the belief I had, not only in the business, but the belief I had in myself. So how many of you guys work full-time, or you have another job outside of Beachbody that you do? Okay, a lot of you. How many of you are full-time coaches? Awesome. How many of you struggle with belief no matter what you do? Like, you always have your days where you're like, am I cut out for this? Am I good enough for this? Can I do it? Maybe you get caught in that comparison trap, everything else. So it happens to all of us. So what I want to tell you guys is, first of all, when I was teaching, I had a principal that I absolutely adored, like loved him. And that's one of the reasons why I stayed at my job for so long. His leadership inspired me to become a school leader, hence why I went to grad school to get my master's degree. I wanted to change and impact lives the way he changed and impact lives. So flash forward, he retired, I got a new principal, and the opposite happened. And I was like, peace out, I am out of here. Thank goodness I started this coaching business 4 years ago, because now I'm unhappy. So for me, when I started coaching, it was about having options. For example, I knew when I had a baby that I would want to stay home with my baby. That just now happened. So I had this belief in the business, this long-term belief right when I came in, and I see so many coaches that want a short-term belief, but it's so vital to have this long-term vision and belief of the things that you want to go for. So if you don't have that, I want to challenge you tonight to decide what that is and what it's going to be. So long-term vision, long-term belief. The second thing I want to tell you guys is that I had phenomenal role models. So my parents actually own a tattoo shop down here in Mississippi, and they've been there for 30 years. People travel from all over to come to this tattoo shop. Crazy. My mom tattooed Brett Favre's butt. If you don't know who that is, he's a football player, so it's legit. I think that's so cool. But anyways, she always gets embarrassed when I say that. He was in his college days. He went to college close to me. Anyways, I digress. So my dad started this tattoo business, first of all, back in the 80s. So they've been established for over 35 years now. So back in the 80s. Now, I want you guys to think for a second, like tattoos may be like the thing now, but back in the 80s, it absolutely was not the cool thing to do. It was very taboo. It was very like you would get really judged for it. And even when I was a little kid in the 90s, it was not accepted like the way it is now. There were kids that weren't allowed to come play at our house because, oh, that's the tattoo people. And there were churches that didn't want us to go there because we were the tattoo people. So obviously it's not like that now, but that's how it was growing up. And now that I'm older, I can look back and I'm like, wow, that man went so against the grain to follow his dream. His dream was to open this tattoo studio. And I watched him as a little kid. My mom would take us down there. It was in this really like shacky rental space, and next door was this Chinese restaurant. And as a little kid, I can still envision like the smell of the Chinese food wafting through the walls as I sat in the back room of my parents' tattoo studio. And he would be sitting in there all day, and maybe one client would come in, maybe one, just one. And he would sit there and sit there. And now, like when I go to visit them or take my baby to see his papa on Saturday, and there's a line wrapped around this gorgeous building, and it's like out the door, and people are coming from all over the country to get tattooed by Jack and Diane, which actually is my parents' names. How crazy. Their names are legit, Jack and Diane, and that's their tattoo studio. But just to watch that dream come to life. So I've seen the long term. I saw him do the hard stuff. Guys, any business ever in the entire world starts off with one client. One. But the people who become successful are the ones who sit in the empty shop day in, day out, making the sacrifices, knowing that they could very well give up and go do something else, knowing there's probably something that could happen faster, or giving up on the dream altogether and going to something easier. But it's the people who sit there and believe in their dreams so much and have so much faith in the plan for them and themselves that they show up anyways. And I'm so blessed to be able to watch that story unfold as my dad would sit as the only person that worked in this tattoo shop. Now he has like tons of tattoo artists that he trains that work for him, lines wrapped around the building. Like we cannot like handle the amount of customers that come in the door. It's insane. So that all happened. So like, let me ask you this. Where would he be if he would have stopped on day 5 when no clients came in? And where would he have been at the end of year 1 when all the people were making fun of him for opening a tattoo shop? Where would he be in life? Where would I be? Would I even be here? I don't know, because so much happened because he still showed up even when the dream wasn't visible yet. And that applies to this business. So when I started this business, I already knew that's what it took. And I'm so thankful for that, because I see so many coaches just like revolve door because they want this like get rich quick overnight success, but they don't want to show up in the empty tattoo shop and believe in their dream. Why not? You have to have that vision, because I've seen what happens to people who believe in their vision, believe in their dreams, show up and do the work that nobody else feels like doing every single day. So that's a little backstory on my belief. I had that coming in. So now let's talk about my journey as a new coach. I love telling the story because I mean it like so seriously. So how many of you guys, really quick, are Emerald coaches? You are an Emerald coach. How many of you guys are Diamond coaches? How many of you guys are Star Diamond and above coaches? Awesome. Okay, so let me ask you this. How many times, and you can be honest, have you told yourself, well, I'm just an Emerald coach, or I'm just a Diamond coach, or I'm just a 1-star Diamond. I wish I could be further ahead, but this is where I'm at. Raise your hand if you've ever thought that. That's okay. I did. Well, I did later. Let me tell you the story about when I went Emerald. So I live, anyone from around Mississippi area? Probably not. I'm like down here by myself. I'm pretty sure I'm like the only coach in all of Beachbody that is from Mississippi, but I have to drive forever to a Super Saturday. Anyways, I thought I was super cool because I knew I was like the only person around doing Beachbody. And so the day I went Emerald, with my dad and my husband signed up underneath of me, I literally got my shout out on Facebook, and I busted open the doors to the school that I worked in that next day like, yeah, baby, y'all saw that on Facebook last night. I'm an Emerald coach. Ain't none of y'all can touch this because I am freaking Emerald. I don't care if I ever go further than this. I am so freaking pumped and happy right this second. How many of you treat yourself like that every single day? Anybody? That is how I talk to myself every single day. I didn't know. All I knew was the first rank was Emerald, and I freaking crushed it because I signed up my husband and my dad. No one had to know how I got there, but I like was on freaking cloud 9. And I literally told my husband, I don't even care if I go Diamond because I'm Emerald right now, and I killed it. Like I've only been a coach for 2 weeks and I'm already Emerald. And that's how excited I was for myself and how much I believed in myself. So let me ask you, what would change if that's how you spoke to yourself? Every time you got a Success Club point, every time you enrolled someone with a $99 all access, every time you got someone interested in your sneak peek, how would that affect your mindset, you guys think? You can write it in the chat because I'm going to go through and read later. Like if you started talking to yourself like brand new baby coach Jen, who knew nothing and was on top of the world for hitting her Emerald rank the first time. Okay, so that's my favorite story to tell because it's true. So now if I was that freaking pumped about Emerald, how do you guys think I felt when I achieved Diamond? I was like, nothing in the world is going to stop me now because now I'm a Diamond coach. Move over, everyone. Like I am the queen of the world. And that's how I felt. And that's how I acted. And I wasn't faking it. I wasn't faking it to make it. I believed I was like freaking number one. And I talked to myself like I was number one. I acted like I was number one. So what do you think that energy putting off started to attract to me? other people who want to be number one. Like that's what it started attracting, because I was so excited about every little step. And you know, as we grow in our business, it's so easy to criticize ourselves and look back and say, well, maybe I should be further. I'm not good at this, or I don't hit high success club, or I can't build a team. How many of you have said stuff like that to yourself before? I definitely have. Later on in my adventure, in this early stage, I didn't. So I want to challenge you to like stop with that limiting belief. Like I want you to treat yourself like the champion that you are. So continuing on. So I became a diamond coach. My husband was an emerald, and then I actually had a working coach that went emerald too. So pumped. So you can kind of see how this started to grow and grow and grow. But all of that happened because I believed in myself. Now, I want to share a story with you guys. About year 2.5, year 3 into my business, I started having limiting beliefs in myself. And I probably didn't share this on the call you listened to, Jesse, but I want to share it with you guys about belief. About year 2.5 and 3, I started to doubt myself, and it absolutely reflected in my business. I started to follow other coaches and look at other coaches, and then I started to say, oh, well, I'm not on that level. How many of you have ever looked at someone and said, I'm not on that level? I'll never be on that level. That will never be me. I started to do that, and it started to affect my business, and I started to attract people that I wasn't connected with. Like, yeah, there are coaches on my team. I love everyone who signs up on my team, but I didn't feel like I had this tribe of women like me. And so then my mindset like just kind of shifted backwards, and I had to get a gut check and the kick in the gut and be like, what happened to Jen? What happened to this rock star who didn't like give two flips about anything and was on top of the world to be emerald? Why is she all of a sudden criticizing everything she does? So how many of you have ever gotten in a place like that? So I need you to know it happens to everybody. But the thing is having the tools and understanding that you absolutely can get back out. So I had to shift my mindset back and start treating myself like Emerald Coach Jen. I literally have a sticky note like, remember Emerald Coach Jen. And I have to remind myself of that every single day. But guys, what happens when you start to talk to yourself and stop letting doubt take up the space where belief should be, everything can change, not just in your business, but in your entire life. You're going to start to attract people like you. You're going to start to believe in yourself a little bit more. Whatever you tell yourself up here is exactly what you're going to believe. So if you're telling yourself you're not good enough, you're not on that level, you can't, you don't have what it takes, that's exactly what's going to happen. How many of you have heard the saying, whether you think you can or can't, you're right? We've probably all heard it, but it's so true. And I see so many coaches shrug off personal development and shrug off these belief practices, but it's so true. How many of you do personal development every single day? Like you never miss a day. Good. I applaud you. How many of you are like, oh crap, I'm going to raise my hand because I don't want to get busted, but I kind of sort of do it. So I'm just going to raise my hand. Whatever category you fall into, let me encourage you right now to every day start talking to yourself like the champion you are. So this is the analogy that I like to use. How many of you ever feel like you're standing on this diving board and there's like this pool and you're seeing, you know, these coaches like swimming in this super fun pool? Maybe you see Jessie down there. Maybe you see Melanie down there, Melanie Mitchell. Maybe you see Ashley Malstead, Emily Favre, Bonnie Engel, and you're like, oh, that must be fun. Like that must be so fun for them. How many of you have ever felt like that? Like you're just looking at all these successful coaches. You want to be in there, but you're like, I'm not on that level. That can't be me. But yet here you are standing on the diving board above the same pool. You see what I'm saying? Like waiting for someone to come and push you. But I have news for you, friends. Ain't nobody coming. Nobody on this entire planet is coming to push you into that pool. But you absolutely have the power to take a dive off that diving board and join it yourself. You absolutely have that power, and you need to start talking to yourself like you are capable of doing that. I see so many coaches just standing around on the edge of that pool thinking they don't have what it takes to jump in, but you absolutely do. And you want to know how I know? Because I did it. I jumped in. You might, you know, I am not number one in this company and I'm not a superstar diamond, but I have a super massive successful organization that is thriving and growing every single day. And that's because I decided to take on the mentality of Emerald Coach Jen and understand that I deserve it and I know what to do. I show up every single day and I can swim around in that pool with anybody that I want to. So you have to understand that if there's anything in your head, any mental blocks going up, you are the one 1,000% in control of that, like 1,000%. If you're waiting on your coach to push you into the pool, or you're waiting on this national wake-up call to just say the right thing, or to tell you the right words of an invite, or to give you the right words for a post, it ain't coming. None of that's coming, and none of that is going to affect your business. The only thing that can affect your business is you taking the step, diving off of that board, and doing the things you know how to do. I hear all the time, be the coach you would want to have on your team. How many of you have heard that saying before? You've heard coaches say that. How many of you right now can say, I am 100% the kind of coach that I would want to sign up right this second? I do everything I would want my coaches to do. I never make excuses. I fill out my tracker every single day. I show up to team calls. Like, I never miss a beat. I invite, I follow up. I do all these things. I am like the perfect coach, and I would love to have me on my team. How many of you can honestly say that? If you can, that's amazing. If you can't, I want to challenge you this next week, show up like the coach you would want on your team. If you want to recruit a rock star coach that is slaying the game, guess who you have to become? A rock star coach who is slaying the game. So if you're ever thinking like, why don't my coaches invite? Ask yourself, are you doing it? If you see, oh, why won't my coaches just post on social media? Are you doing it? If you're like, oh, my coaches won't do personal development or get on a team call, are you doing it? So always ask yourself those questions. And when you can confidently sit here and say, I show up, I am the kind of coach I would want to have, then your belief system is going to skyrocket. I know every single day when I sit down to work, I am the exact kind of person I would want to sign up on my team. So whatever they do, I am leading, and the leaders are going to lead with me. And I believe that with my whole heart, because I know that I show up every single day. So I hope that makes sense. Okay. So let's go back to like kind of where you guys are right now. So some of you guys said you work full time. How many of you feel like, you just don't have the time? Like you have these big visions and dreams, but you just don't have the time. Does anybody feel like that? I won't preach about that if nobody feels like that. So I remember a big part of my belief around like year 2.5 when it started to take a dip was I felt like I was spread too thin. And I was like, okay, I'm just too busy. And how many of you have ever started talking yourself out of your opportunity? Like you're like, oh, well, I'll just be okay with where I'm at. Like, I don't really need to go forward. Or my favorite, I'm just here to inspire one person. I don't need to hit Success Club. I'm just happy inspiring one person. How many of you have ever like had a coach say that to you, or you've actually said it? I cannot tell. Listen, I didn't say this on that other call either, but I'm going to say it here because I just told my team the same thing. I have a lot of coaches come to me and they're like, well, I know I didn't hit Success Club or hit my goals, but I inspired one person and that's all that matters. I call BS hardcore. You would not be here if that's all you were here for. You would not be on this call if you didn't have this vision and this dream of an income. You wouldn't be on this call if you didn't want to make some money. You wouldn't be on this call if you didn't want to build a team. So I call BS, and it's time that you call BS on yourself next time you start to tell those lies, because I see a lot of coaches come in, and I have my own coaches that feed themselves that, and that's what you're going to believe, and it's not true, or you would not be here. So it's time you're honest with yourself about why you're really here, where you want to be in a year, where you see yourself, and not ask yourself, can I do it? But start asking yourself, am I willing to do what I know it takes to get there? Once you can make that mental shift, things will happen in your business. So I hope this helps. I hope this is like super inspiring for you guys. I wanted to ask Jessie if there's anything else. That's a little bit about my story about me. Is there anything else you wanted me to touch on?
Sorry, wait, how do I unmute myself? Did anyone have any questions that you want to ask her? Let me double check the chat really fast. You're awesome. Literally, people are already messaging like, she's amazing. And I completely agree with the fact that like, sometimes you start telling yourself like, oh, well, I did help one person, and you know that like, no, you wanted to do more, and you just get in your head to like settle with where you're at, or you get it in your head to settle that like, well, I didn't have a lot of time and my life is crazy, and you let like your goals and dreams take a back seat instead of stepping up and saying like, no, this is what I want, and I had big goals. And I will say, and I'm sure it probably happens with you, I have people that come on and are like, I'm not a hobby coach, I'm a business building coach. And then you have to like have that mentality a month in and 2 months in and 3 months in, because it gets hard. And like you were saying, I mean, even with where I'm at in my business, I still have days where I'll like all of a sudden start seeing coaches and I'm like, wait, can I really ever be a 15-star coach, or can I really do this? And you still have those doubts kick in. So whether you're a brand new coach on the team, you're an emerald coach, you're a diamond, like you're going to go through your entire business and have self-doubt. You're never just going to be at a point that you are like, I'm so confident, I don't need personal development, and have no self-doubt. While she is on, you guys, what questions do you guys have for her? Do you want to ask her anything? Don't be shy. Ask her while she's on.
And it is so true. You're always going to go through like a season of doubt, but you also have the tools to like get through it and the community get through it. So just, I wanted to share that because like it does happen to me too. But you know, I know that the tools that I have and the belief that I have in myself, and I know that my greatest tool is right here. Like if you're in your head in a bad way, like feeding yourself the lies and the negative talk, like you are standing in your own way. For the love of everything, don't be the person standing in your way. Get out of your own way, and don't let that be something that holds you back.
I know we had girls that were just pushing for Diamond for Summit and might have fallen a little short for that. What would your best advice be to keep them obviously motivated and knowing that like sometimes you do miss a goal or sometimes you really want to hit it and maybe you did everything? What would be advice for that?
So my advice for you guys, like my goal was to qualify for 10-star at Summit, and I'll be going to Summit as a 7-star in my first business center and a 1-star in my second. And I didn't hit my goal. That doesn't mean the goal goes away. It just means the date changes. So now I'm going to hustle this third quarter when it comes up, or the rest of the second quarter. Like I'll never stop hustling for that goal. But it's not something that I feel defeated by, and it's not something you should feel defeated by. Like so let's say you didn't hit it by Summit. Why can't you hit it next week or the next week or the next week? Like that is forward motion. Who cares if you're not hitting it by X date? Hit it the next week. Hit it the next week. Like you absolutely have what it takes, and not hitting a goal in a time frame isn't something that should hold you back or stop you or stand in your way. Like it's okay to be like, dang it for a second, but you get back up there and you keep going and hustle for that goal. What I see a lot of coaches do, I'll use Diamond for example. They hustle for Diamond by a date. They miss it, and then they just completely fall off because they missed one goal. Like, would you tell your child if they're learning to walk and they stumble, like, okay, I guess that's it, just give up and don't ever walk? Because that's what you're telling yourself whenever you're like, oh, boo, I didn't hit a goal. Let me just throw in the towel and give up and completely fall all the way backwards and then have to do all that work again. Don't do that to yourself. Like, you're better than that. You're worth more than that. You deserve more than that. So don't do that to yourself. Someone said, what do you do when that happens when you're in the funk? So one rule that I have is I can't ever tell myself I'm in a funk, because then I'll keep telling myself that and I'll start believing it. How many of you do that? And then I convince myself, oh, I'm just in a funk. Like I'm not having the success I want right now because I'm in a funk. So when I recognize those feelings, I dig out my personal development, get in some serious gratitude and start hustling. Like that's how you get out, doing the work, taking action. I don't sit back and like, I'm not the kind of person, I don't sit back and think about it. I'm just like, okay, get out my tracker, which is right here, by the way. I use this every single day. Get out my tracker, and I start checking off those boxes. That's the only way to get yourself out of a funk, because more than likely you're in a funk because you feel like you're not hitting goals. So guess how you hit goals? By taking action. And I guarantee you, when you start to see the fruits of that labor happen, that funk will be nowhere in sight. A few of us on this call are about to be mamas in a couple months. How do you work your schedule around mom life? Do you work it all in a miracle morning before your baby wakes up, around nap time, unplug completely when your baby's awake? This is a great question. So I am only a new mom by like 4.5 months. So I'm not a pro. I just had baby in December. So this is kind of funny because honestly, guys, this is going to be my advice for that. I'm trying to think of how to word it. You can try to schedule, and how many of you have kids already? Like you have kids, you get it. Okay, so the 3 or 4 people who just like raise their hand are probably cracking up at this question, right? Because it's like, yeah, okay. Let me tell you what my plan was gonna be. My plan was gonna be that I was gonna wake up super early every day, knock out all my business hours, and then do some business hours during nap time. And that was great when he was a newborn and slept all the time, but little homie is about almost 5 months old next week, so 4.5, almost 5 months old. And that is not how life goes anymore. Like it is not. Like sometimes he sleeps, sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he's awake all day, sometimes he's not. Sometimes he goes late. So the way I do it, honestly, is I make the sacrifice. Like, I need to tell you right now, mentally prepare yourself to make the sacrifices because this is worth it to you. Like, the only reason I get to be home with him is because I made these sacrifices and I'm willing to continue to make them. I want to be home now that I've experienced this. I want to be home with all my future babies. So I'm not willing to let my business go backwards. So some things that I do is I have my tracker and I make my to-do list every day. I will not go to bed until every single box here is checked off and I feel good about what I did. I will not go to bed until my to-do list is complete. And if that means I slept for 5 hours that night, that means I slept for 5 hours that night. Not to scare you, that doesn't always happen. Some nights he sleeps 12 hours and it's great. It just depends. He's going through sleep regression right now. So it just depends. But another thing is, like, at 6 a.m. when I get up, or when he gets up, if he goes back to sleep, I get up and I just knock out what I can. But honestly, just set the goal of never going to sleep without completing this. Because the thing is, guys, I don't work 7-hour days. I work about 3.5, maybe 4 hours every single day. That's really easy to find. I'm a full-time coach now. Like, I've built a 6-figure business and that's how much I work. I do not work 12-hour days and all that. Now, could I be a lot farther if I did? Yup, but I didn't sign up for that. I'm here. I work 3.5 to 4 hours a day, and I get this done. If you are working a full-time job, having a baby, you can absolutely knock this out in like an hour and a half, especially if you're a newer coach and you're not having like a huge team yet. There's no reason to not have this done every single day. I just feel like you have to be willing to make those sacrifices, and it's not hard. I just don't really sit on the couch and watch Netflix too much. Like, my husband and I have great communication. Like, he's doing his workout right now because he knew I had a call tonight. So we rearrange our schedule so that, you know, we're together, but we also have an understanding of like why we do this. We do this so that I can be home with little guy. We do this so that, you know, we don't have to put him in daycare. So it's worth it to me to get up an hour earlier, go to bed an hour later. Some advice I have for you, totally off coaching topic. I'll type this in the chat. If you are going to be a new mom, go follow this Instagram right now and buy her newborn sleep class. Like, it is the freaking bomb.com, and I'll never stop raving about it. I have done all of her sleep classes, and honestly, it's really great. The only reason we're struggling right now is he's transitioning from the swaddle, and the little dude can't control his arms when he goes to bed, and he's hitting himself in the face and waking up. It's super funny. Fun mom life stuff, but that's a great question. I do not unplug completely when he's awake. Here's why. 2 things. He is awake a lot now because he is getting older. Like, every baby's different. I'm not a pro, guys. I've only been doing this for 5 months. But I feel like he also needs time to learn to play on his own. So I have no problem bringing him in here on his play mat and doing tummy time while I'm sitting right here checking off some boxes, because he doesn't go to daycare and I don't want him to like just be used to me being in his face 24/7. Like, he needs to learn to be independent too. That's just me. You parent the way you're going to parent. But personally, I feel like he needs to be able to sit there and play while I'm doing something and not be like on me 24/7. That's just me. Don't judge me like you mom the way you want to mom. But he's always right here. I do my workout and he's always in his little jumper thing, and he watches me do it the whole time. And like, so he's basically getting his workout while I do mine. Now, I will say I work out when he's awake because he loves to watch me do it. He laughs, all that good stuff. I don't sacrifice, like when he is asleep, like that's hustle time. So I don't use his sleep time as my workout. That's something we just do together. So that's one tip that I have for you there. And babies love to watch you do things. So he's like always loved it since he was a newborn. He's like, whenever I do a workout. So that was a lot. I hope that helps. That's a loaded question. All I can say is like, just pockets of time, hustle. And this is designed for pockets of time. Do you guys use this tracker? It's my favorite one. So just hustle in those pockets of time. Like, okay, I got 20 minutes. I can connect on Instagram for 20 minutes. Boom, done. You know, just work through that. Invites, like none of this stuff takes a long time and it can be broken up really easily. So I hope that helps. Oh, yeah, good. Someone said great tips. I'm glad it was great tips. That's kind of a loaded question. You cannot predict your days as a mother. I have learned that.
Yeah, and you guys just remember as new parents that like my first child slept amazing. She was like good sleeper from day one, never had any issues, always slept through the night. Frankie is just turning 1 and has after 4 months like didn't sleep through the night ever. So I just got back to doing miracle mornings, but I couldn't. But the thing you have to just remind yourself in this business is you will have nights that they don't sleep, and you will have nights where you want to just go to bed because you're tired. So you have to fit it in when you can, and just have the mindset of why you're fitting it in when you're tired. Because as long as you're checking those boxes every single day, you're moving your business forward. You don't have to spend hours doing the business, but you have to be checking your boxes, because if you just start going to bed and saying, well, I'm tired, before you know it, your business unravels, and everything that you're doing to build up to when you deliver and all of that then gets stuck. So you don't want to put your business in a hold. Just like if you owned a clothing shop, you wouldn't just shut the doors because you had a baby and reopen 9 months later. You would lose all the people that were coming there. So
yeah, and honestly, my business exploded with like pregnancy and new mom life, like exploded, and it's still exploding. And I love what someone said. They have no idea like if you're doing something right or wrong. Give yourself grace, like Jen said, work. Yeah. And honestly, I've only been doing this for a short time. I can say parenting, momming, mom life, it's a mindset. You can decide. I could sit here and decide. I could have said, oh, Jesse, I'm way too tired. Like, being a new mom's so hard. I'm not going to do your call tonight. Like, I'm tired. I didn't sleep good last night. But, like, I'm committed to my business. I love hosting calls for other people. So, like, here I am showing up. He's asleep right now. Like, it's so easy to just, and I know this sounds silly too, but I think tired is also a mindset. The more you tell yourself, oh, I'm so sleep deprived, I'm so tired, oh my gosh, I'm so tired, I'm just so tired, then that's exactly how you're going to be, and that's how you're going to feel. But like, I don't talk to myself that way. So to be honest, like, yeah, I'm a little sleepy, but I've never been like, oh my gosh, I'm just so tired. I don't know. So when I see other new moms doing that, I'm like, dude, take a nap and move forward. Like, you're fine. Everyone has to do this. Like, we've all done it. You're going to be fine. So I hope that helps. I'm also kind of like a straight talker, so sorry.
any other questions for her? No, everyone's good. Are you sure? All right. I think that's it. Thank you so much for the call tonight. I know that fired everyone up, and I love just how honest and real you are, because it really is like, it's all a mindset thing, and it's all believing in yourself and really believing what you can do with this. And it shows in the way you invite and the way you post. When you're truly believing in what this is, you can grow a solid business. No one knows what an Emerald coach is. No one knows what a 15-star coach is from an outside.
So true.
You know, is if you are excited and passionate and loving life and sharing about that, that's what they're going to connect with.
So true.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much tonight.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let's get a boomerang really fast. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Almost forgot. All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Bye, guys.
All right. Does anyone have any last minute questions that you guys want? Did that help you guys? Yes. And you guys, like she said, I 100% agree that like it is so easy to set a goal for yourself, and then when you fall a little bit short, to be like, oh, well, you know, I was okay with hitting this number, or I was okay with doing this, because it's just like, you don't want to feel guilty, but you need to push yourself. Whatever goals you have in this business and what your dream life looks like. If you don't know where you want to be in 4 years with this, then ask yourself, because even if you don't want to make this full time, there's a dream life that you should be envisioning for you and for your family, and what it looks like, the house that you live in, the state that you live in, where, like, what you're doing, what your days look like. Even having my husband home the last week or whatever, before, or 2 weeks, it has really shown us like what we want to do and what we've been working so hard to get to. And it's been so cool to see that like, this is what it's going to be like. We'll be able to sit and do this stuff. And that's what you want to be envisioning, is like, what do you really envision? Like, what, when you wake up, do you sit down and have time to like have breakfast with your kids, where maybe you're running out the door right now, or you have time to go meet your husband for lunch because you don't have a boss telling you that you only have a half an hour break. So like, as stupid as it sounds, those little things matter in your business, and they're what is going to drive your business forward. And you are just like everybody else. Like she said, you can jump in that pool and don't get caught. And honestly, ask yourself right now, because you guys, I do this all the time. But if you start looking at coaches' posts and you're obsessively looking at them and following tons of different top coaches, you will get so distracted because you'll look at how many likes they're getting. You'll look at like things, maybe they put an invite up and they got so many responses and you put one up and didn't get responses. That doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter. What matters is what you're doing every single month for your own business. And it's trial and error. If you put a post up and it does awesome, take note of it. What did you write in it? What were you sharing about? What was the picture about? Because that's what you want to look at. And then a post that doesn't do really well, look at that post and see, okay, this post doesn't typically do well on my social media. Maybe you need to switch what time you're posting. And then always ask yourself, are you having enough time? Like I went live on Sunday and talked about, but we are really trying to get our team to start doing miracle mornings again with new moms. Like that could end up not being a thing for you, and that's okay. So make sure you are ready to accept that, because I couldn't. Honestly, my son woke up every 3 hours for like the last 8 months. But if you are able to, then make that commitment to yourself that you want to start doing certain things in the morning, because it really starts to form a habit. Like I was watching their new coach thread, girls today being like, I cleaned my bathroom and I did this before my kids got up and I did this. And like, it was so funny because none of us are morning people, but we're changing our mindset to be a morning person so that we're reaching our goals and feeling accomplished. When you really can rock your morning and like own your shower and you have your personal development done and you've sent invites already, like you feel unstoppable. You're like, okay, sweet. What does this day have to, like, I got this day. And when you wake up and you're late and you're running out the door and you're trying to then fit this in, that's when it gets overwhelming and that's when it gets stressful. So I also know, like me personally, staying on track with my nutrition is way easier if like I set my tone in the morning to get my workout in, because when I work out later, it's like, I don't know, I just don't stay on track as much with my nutrition. So that also helps. But thank you guys all so much for getting on. Does anyone have questions before we jump off?
Yeah, I do, Jesse. Did you say that the goal was already passed for us to be like rank advanced for Summit?
So, okay, Summit has like 2 deadlines for our team to like have a rank advance. That's passed this past week. For actual Summit and for Star Diamonds. To go Diamond, you have until the first week in June.
Okay.
So
I was like gonna cry. I was like,
it's kind of weird how it works. But basically, for a diamond coach, how it works. If it's a Star Diamond, you have to hold 6 weeks. So if our team wants to rank advance and be like a 10-star team, we had to make it happen by last week or the week before. I don't even remember. I think it was last week. But for a diamond to show up there and be recognized, you have to rank advance by the first week in June. So
okay.
they'll have that time to get you there. All right. If there's no more questions? No? Good. Okay. If you guys think of anything, let me know. But thank you all so much for jumping on. Pam and Alex, remember to stay on so that we can do some training stuff really fast. But everyone else, thank you guys so much for jumping on tonight.
I still have to get my workout in. Is it